Hi everyone! Welcome back to MomNMeBeauty, and if you are new here, thank you for joining me today. You have landed on MomNMeBeauty, a channel where my daughter and I post 2 beauty videos a week. On Mondays is MomNMe Day, and of course on Thursdays is either Teen Take with her or Mom Moment with me. Today I'm going to share with you a tutorial and my thoughts on the new L'Oreal Paris Paradise Enchanted Scented Eyeshadow Palette. Now there, I'm sure, are lots of tutorials, reviews on this palette, but I wanted to give you my thoughts on this palette simply because we do try to do a focus on more affordable brands, and there has been a little bit of controversy, if not outright accusation, that this palette is a dupe for the higher end Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. So I'm going to compare the two of them and then just do a tutorial with this palette. So I know that was a long-winded explanation. Without further ado, let's get started. So to start off with, the L'Oreal palette comes with 12 eyeshadows, and it does have quite the peach scent. So on the very front of it, you can see that there is a peach right here on the label, and it claims right on the label to be peach scented. It is definitely peach scented. So if you were going to buy the Too Faced palette for that reason, because of the scent, I'm telling you right now, it hits you like a ton of bricks as soon as you open up the palette. Now, I personally don't like the smell of peaches, so that's a little off-putting to me, but a lot of people do like that scent. If that's what you're gonna buy it for, I'm telling you, this palette has it in spades. If you are really sensitive to scents, I think this palette is still going to be good for you, but you might want to open it up away from your face and then let it sit open for, maybe a minute or two before you go into it. I found that when I do that, if I open up the palette and just let it sit, the scent kind of dissipates a little bit, and then it's not so intense when I go to apply it on my lid. So that's a helpful hint for you if you're really sensitive to smells. In terms of the formulation, I found that the matte shades, and you're gonna see in the tutorial, I found that the matte shades were pretty powdery and had a lot of kickback in the pan. When I went to go apply them to the lid, of course, I didn't have any fallout whatsoever, and they blended really, really well. The shimmers are very intense in pigmentation. Actually, all of the colors are very intense in pigmentation. The shimmers don't have any kickback or fallout, which is great. I did find though, and this is very strange, like I said, the matte shadows tend to have a little bit of kickback or fallout when you go to dip your brush in the pan. The only color that doesn't really do that is this dark milk chocolate brown at the bottom. Really, really strange. Now, I did do swatches of this palette against the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and I'm going to insert those clips right now. So you're gonna see that the L'Oreal palette is on the top, and the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette is on the bottom. There were only a few colors, like maybe 2 or 3, that I couldn't find a close enough match to out of the Too Faced palette. And I would say that the L'Oreal palette definitely pulls a little bit more warm all around, like all of the colors all around. Now the L'Oreal palette comes with 12, the Too Faced comes with 16, so you are gonna get more shades out of the Too Faced palette, especially they've got 2, 3 purple shades in their palette. The L'Oreal does not have any purple whatsoever. It's just oranges and browns, shades of pink. So that's one difference. The other difference I found, and this is just my opinion, I found that the L'Oreal shades, even the mattes, felt a little bit more creamy to me when I was swatching them side by side. They felt more silky smooth and creamy than the Too Faced. The Too Faced just felt a little bit more powdery. Now this is Emma's palette, and she's had this for at least a year. Maybe it's because she's had it that long that maybe the eyeshadows have dried out a little bit. That's a possibility, but when I have to put them head to head, I just feel like the L'Oreal is a little bit creamier. Another thing about this palette is, and I'm going to mention this in the tutorial as well, you're going to notice there are no shade names on the palette itself, which is very typical of most drugstore palettes. However, on the back, right up here, they give each shade a number designation. So I'm going to use that in the tutorial to tell you which shade that I'm going to use. If you already have the Sweet Peach palette, I'm sure you can pair up the shades that I mentioned in my tutorial with the Sweet Peach palette if you want to recreate the shadow look that I did today. One other honorable mention, I did a dupe video many months ago. I will post that video up here in the card section for you. I duped the sugar palette from Face Candy, which I got off of Hush.com, against the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I did a tutorial side by side with that as well, so if you want to check that video out, please hit that card up at the corner or in the description bar below. I'll have it down there for you as well. So when I compare this palette against the L'Oreal palette, this is more comparable to the Too Faced just because it has those purple shades in it that this palette does not have. The shades that this palette has and this palette has, I found are actually fairly similar in terms of shade range. Finishes are a little bit different, so you might find a shimmery shade ends up matching to a matte shade in this palette and vice versa. Formulation, I think, are very similar. The pigmentation, whether or not they have fallout or they're powdery, I think its formulation is very similar. So if you're really looking for like the full dupe and those purples and those other shades that this palette doesn't offer, definitely pick yourself up one of these palettes, a sugar palette from Face Candy, and I got this on Hush.com. Incredible dupe for the Too Faced palette. Overall, I really do like this palette. I really like the formulation of it, the pigmentation, everything about it. The only thing that, like I said, I can't stand is that peach scent. So I definitely will be reaching for this palette a whole lot more. I'm very happy with it, and it's very affordable. You can use coupons through Ulta.com, which is where I found mine. It hasn't reached any of my local drugstores yet. Perhaps it is in one of your drugstores, or maybe even your local Ulta, but I did get this off of Ulta.com. So we got a new camera, and I'm able to zoom in really closely so that you're able to see what colors I'm using and where I'm placing them and how much I'm blending them, so on and so forth. I'm really liking that feature of this camera, but I gotta be honest with you, up close, like in my viewfinder, I can see every wrinkle, which I know that you probably can, and my dark circles, which I know you probably can. So that's one downside to having this new camera and being able to get up so close. In any case, that's neither here nor there. Let's get started with this tutorial. I'm going to prime my eyes with my, I should pull a Nikki Tutorials right now with my favorite primer, my Wet n Wild Photofocus Eyeshadow Primer. So while I'm waiting for my primer just to dry a little bit, I want to talk to you about the palette. So there are no names on the palette itself. So, you got one of those situations where you're like, well, this color and that color. However, on the back, you can see there, they've actually numbered the pans. So instead of names, I'm just going to use the numbers with the corresponding color. That way, if you get your hands on this palette, you can do the same thing. So to set my primer, I'm going to be using color number 2. And then going into the crease, I'm going to be using color number 8, which is a nice like mid-tone tan. These are a little bit powdery, kind of like that Maybelline palette that Emma and I used on Monday, and I will link that video up in the cards right up here for you. You can check that video out if you'd like. So this palette is a little bit powdery, a little bit of kickback, so just make sure you tap off your brush before you apply your shadow. And I would say these colors, these two colors so far, which are both matte, are pretty pigmented. Very impressed with that. Okay, next I'm going to be going into number 11 on the bottom row. It's a dark chocolate brown. I'm going to put that in the outer edges or outer corner of my lid. This color too is decently pigmented, just like the first two. Not as powdery though, which is surprising. So I usually apply my lid color with finishing spray or even sometimes like a liquid eyeshadow as a base. I forgot to bring both of those with me. So in lieu of that, if you ever find yourself in a bind, you can always use your finger because the oils from your finger help to melt any shimmer or glitter onto your lid. It helps it to stick a little bit better, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be using my finger, and I'm going to go into color number 7, which is a nice pinky peach color, and it does have some shimmer in it, so this should be pretty. Intensely pigmented, no fallout, no kickback, no powderiness from this color. It's just very, very pretty. Next, I'm going to be going into the shade 1, and that I'm going to be using for my brow bone highlight. Okay, then I'm going to be going back into shade 11 again, that dark chocolate brown that I used in the outer corner, and I'm going to pop a little bit of that underneath my lower lash line. Then I'm going to take my fluffy brush again, and going back into shade number 8, I'm going to use that just to blend a little bit of that lid color in with the crease color so there's not like a harsh line. And finally, for the inner corner highlight, I'm going to be using shade number 3, which is a really, really shimmery pale pink with a little bit of coral in it, mostly pulling like a nice icy pink. So that is it for the eyeshadow palette. I'm going to go pop on some eyeliner, curl my lashes, do my mascara, a little bit of lip color, and we'll come back for the final look. Consequently, just as an honorable mention, when I ordered this palette from Ulta.com, I also found that L'Oreal also came out with an eyeliner in their Voluminous Lash Paradise line. So of course you know the mascara, I rave about it. But anyway, so I came across the eyeliner. That's what I'm going to be using for my eyeliner today. And I have, ooh, it's upside down and backwards. Let's try that. There we go. So I have been able to try this out a couple of times, and actually it's really, really good. I don't know if I like it better than my NYX Epic Eyeliner, ink eyeliner yet, but it's fantastic. So anyways, I'm going to use this for my eyeliner, and of course my Lash Paradise for my mascara. I will be right back. Okay, so I've zoomed you out a little bit. This is the completed look. I'm actually very pleased with it. I think that it's comparable to the other 2 palettes that I talked about already, and it's on a, you know, the drugstore side, so the more affordable end of makeup, if you will. And that is it for this mom moment on MomNMeBeauty. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. If you did, please, please give me a thumbs up down below. I do want to say welcome to all our new subscribers. We've had quite a few of you join us recently within the last week. I hope that you share us with your family and friends, especially those that you think are going to get some great benefits out of our content. In the comment section below, let me know if there's any other new palettes out or new makeup that you would like me to try, or perhaps find a dupe for maybe higher end brands. Let me know that in the comment section below. If you are brand new to us, please consider subscribing. Hit that subscribe button down below, and then hit that little bell that is right next to it so you're notified every time we upload a new video. Be sure to connect with us on Instagram under MomNMeBeauty, and with my daughter Emma under Emma_N_2004. Thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. So does Emma. And we can't wait to see you in our next MomNMe video. Bye everyone.